So who do we got? Who's ahead?
So that one's in the rear view. Now we're looking out the windshield and we see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They come into the game at home against the Lions as a 3-point underdog to the Lions. They are 3-1 and in the lead for their division, the NFC South. They've already had their bye week, therefore they are 3-1. They're coming off the bye at home as an underdog with Baker Mayfield against the Detroit Lions. Russ, what do you see for this game? What's sticking out to you about this game?
Well, I see the adoration that I am paying towards this Tampa Bay team is the adoration that I was giving to Carolina at the beginning of the season. I really thought that Carolina game was on my schedule as this like revenge game and everything, but it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that are playing like that. They got a stout defense, and I know that for some reason PFF isn't very kind to their rush defense, but that is a Vita Vea right in the middle. They got Devin White. They got some good defenders, so I know that Dan Campbell isn't looking past these guys, especially on the defensive side. And Baker Mayfield, I mean, he's a baller, man. He just kind of goes from place to place, and he's a starting level quarterback, and he can hurt you if you're not ready to go. But I do think the Lions are a better team in here. They should win this game. They should go down there and take care of business.
Inarguably, their best offensive player is Mike Evans, wide receiver, and he is listed as questionable right now for this game. He has been battling an injury. I did see a report where they expect him to play, but it's not in the bag right now. So that will definitely help the Lions' cause. But what you said about their pass defense, Tampa Bay allows 243 yards per game passing, which is actually less than the Lions' pass defense. 249 yards per game the Lions allow. Where the difference, though, is the rush defense you were talking about, right? So they do allow 94.8 yards per game. That's Tampa, almost 100 yards a game they allow, while Detroit is averaging 141 yards of rushing output per game. So I think the Lions can run on this team. Even though they do have a good defense, they're only a couple of years removed from a Super Bowl, for crying out loud. Right. They have a lot of good defensive players, like you said. Levante David, one that you missed, a great player. They have some good players over there in defense. Where they're questionable is their offensive line. It's been that way even when Tom Brady was there. As a result, they only average 87 yards per game rushing. Rachaad White, it's a decent young back, but they don't have a good rushing game. So it comes down to this recipe that we talk about every week. The Lions run the ball and stop the run, and it looks like they should be able to execute that against Tampa. And if they do those two things, I think they can win. I even like them to cover the points. There you go. And Baker Mayfield, I want to say, Baker Mayfield, kudos. I've always liked Baker Mayfield ever since he disrespected Ohio in that game. 87 out of 125. That's really good, folks. That's above the league average. He's been efficient with the ball. However, only on 882 yards with all those attempts, showing you that he is throwing short passes. He's playing it safe. He's not going deep a lot. 7 touchdowns against 2 interceptions. So Baker's doing everything he can to not do those things he's done in the past that got him run out of Cleveland. Being a gunslinger, throwing up balls. Like, what are you doing? Throwing into triple coverage. All those things that made Baker a bad quarterback back then, he's not doing those things now. He's learned to run out of the pocket and get rid of the ball. That's been huge for him to keep drives going by not taking a sack. Right? When you're at third, when you're at 2nd and 5, don't make it 2nd and 3rd and 15 by taking a 10-yard sack. He's getting out of that now, or throwing a pick. Only 2 interceptions on the year. So he is being efficient with the ball. And he's going to need to be against this Detroit Lions defense. The one thing that really is interesting for me, Russ, and I want to get your thoughts on this as well. The biggest matchup here is that offensive line for Tampa against our defensive line. The way our D-line has been playing, they should be able to manhandle Tampa Bay when Tampa has the ball, and that's going to be the most intriguing matchup for me that I look for. What do you think?
I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, the Lions have an advantage right there, and that's why I think they are going to win the game. And it could end up being another blowout type of game if they do manhandle that up front like that, because that's how you can turn Baker Mayfield, Mr. Efficiency 3-1 Baker Mayfield on the Tampa Bay team into old crappy Cleveland run out of the pocket, throw it in triple coverage. Well, how do you do that? You do that with a pass rush. You do that by getting after him, and I think they will absolutely be getting after Baker Mayfield all day long. As a matter of fact, we're going to be throwing so much heat at him because the new style of Lions play now, I think, is why we're seeing all this aggressiveness. We don't want to leave any of these games into the hands of the referees or anything outside what's going on. And I think that they're bucking that trend. And anytime that they have a chance to be aggressive, he's going to be aggressive because I want to get you out of this game as quickly as possible. And I want to take the last 10 minutes of the game where I'm just grinding clock and running the ball with my backup running back, Craig Reynolds. So it's like, I think they can wear on this Tampa team. They're not as deep as we are. I think that will grind these guys, right out of this game. And we could be looking at another double-digit win.
I love it. Especially if they get pressure on Baker, right? If they're able to rush 4 and get pressure. In 4 games this season, the Lions were getting pressure with 4 down linemen rushing. Mm-hmm. All 4 of those games they won. On the one game they couldn't get pressure on Geno Smith with 4 down linemen, they had to bring another rusher in to get pressure, and Geno beat him to a backup tight end over and over.
Right.
And I think that's what we're going to see. I think that's what you see with every NFL team. You have to generate a pass rush with 4 guys. And if the Lions can do that in this game, like you said, double-digit win for the Lions. I think
we're a nasty team from ahead, Mike. And I'm thinking this is like what Seattle did to us was they took us out of that realm. And we were up 14-7. And then when we came out, turnover, pick 6, and all of a sudden we're behind the 8 ball. We're not built. We can come back. We did come back. But like our team is built that when we get that lead, we're going to be able to step on people after we get the lead. And that's where we want to be. We want to be out in front of them with the aggressiveness, and then we want to stomp them out in the fourth quarter.
Running between the tackles, keeping the chains moving, keeping the clock running.
We're up.
Drag them out to the deep water. Yeah. That's Dan Campbell's philosophy too. Love it. Love it. And I think Tampa is just in the way. This train is coming. They're laying across the tracks, and this train is coming through, right? Mama said the Detroit Lions were like a choo-choo train.
Like a choo-choo train.
Yeah. So there it is. I'm going to make a score prediction here. I think it's Lions 24-17. That's a 7-point cushion, so I think they cover the 3.
I like your 17 score for them. So I just think the Lions offense is a little more on the unstoppable side. So I'm going to go ahead and say 31-17.
Love it.
In this game.
2 touchdowns by Russell Wayne. He predicted, You heard it right here. Swami says Lions by 2 touchdowns. All right. That would bring us to 5-1 as we head into the Baltimore game, which a lot of people had put that as an L on their schedule, right? For that game.
Are you scared of Baltimore?
To be not one bit at all.
Me neither.
So to be 6-1, though, at the same point we were 1-6 last year, I think is poetic and beautiful.
It is.
So it is. It absolutely. From 1-6 to 6-1. If you weren't with us when we were 1-6, don't be with us when we're 6-1. But that's bullshit. There's plenty of room on the bandwagon. Get on.
We're going to buy the kneecap off.
It's been barren for 50 years. All right. Here it is. There you go. There's our predictions for the Lions game. Take it for what it's worth. Now,